back for Harfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Harfield. He's been training that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Robbie Blake! Burnley's first goal in the Premier League is something very, very special.
Wade Elliott has that change of pace and he's got away from Montgomery. It's the path of McCann and the follow-up finds the net. What a strike from Wade Elliott! A bolt from the claret and blue.
Oh goodness me! What a goal from Patterson! If that is to be the one that takes them to Wembley, you cannot argue with that. Pure quality.
Here goes Mike Conroy. Still time for a winner maybe. John Francine! They came to York in their thousands. They're going home as champions.
I mean, if there's any justice in the world, Burnley would surely score from this corner. Swung right in there. Ball in there. Yeah! Michael Keane! Oh, that's justice! That is justice at the Amex Stadium. Burnley are level and deserve to be.
Hello, everyone, and welcome along to the latest episode of the full-time show here on the TurfCast podcast with me, Joe Redmond. And joining me today, we have Nathan, and he's from Burnley Mondial. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. And at the bottom, for some reason now, they've switched when I brought them all back in. He's gutted. But it's Neil Layfield. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Joy.
Aye, not bad, mate, not bad. Happy May Day, everybody. It's good to see some people in the comments. We've got a Preston fan in the comments. He's not trolling, though. He says, I'm a Preston fan, but think Burnley are class. Fair enough, mate. Appreciate that.
Everyone's on the bandwagon. Everyone's
on the Burnley and Billy bandwagon. Solent's in the chat. Evening, Solent. Apologies. It's 10:35. Apologies, mate. Chris says... Up the clarets. Mac says, morning, Solent, morning, all. John Fitzpatrick says, hey, up, cockers. Good to have so many people in the chat already. Chronicles of Child says, morning. Ben says, morning. Mac says, looking forward to some more Solent stats. Yep, Solent, come on, get them in, get them ready. James Milner to Burnley, says Chris P. We'll probably discuss something like that later on or during the summer. We'll see. We'll see how long this starts lasting. Mark is in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Yeah, keep your comments coming in. Chronicles of Child is very happy to see Neil. He's very happy to see Neil.
I think he's probably in the Mirich fan club somewhere.
Yeah, is he like the vice president, something like that?
Not that I know of, but you know,
no. We can make him a vice president.
It could be that vacancy is there.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, let's get into the game then, lads. Of course, another win. Anti-football's in the chat, by the way. Anti's been doing some of her own content recently. If you want to check it out, head over to the Inky Punk YouTube channel. But yeah, the match, another win. Thought we played well. My only gripe was that we should have been out of sight by the time that we scored. But all's well that ends well, because we won the match and we won it quite comprehensively as well. Obviously not in terms of scoreline, but just in terms of the play and the possession and things like that. I thought we played very, very well. But yeah, my only issue is that we probably should have been out of sight. And I just feel like at the minute, if we had like an out-and-out striker that could put the ball in the net, and this isn't to start another Foster debate, but if we had an out-and-out striker that put the ball into the net, I think we would just run away. I mean, we've run away with it already. And it seems weird saying, if we had a striker, we'd be better when we're one of the highest goal scorers in the league. And we're the highest goal scorers in the league until about 3-4 weeks ago. But that's my only issue. But we were fantastic. Again, I've got no complaints, really. Connor Roberts were brilliant again. Should have scored. He had that effort from 30 yards out, 40 yards out. That would have been an absolute screamer. Manuel Benson, the guy is just unstoppable. We'll get on to him individually in a bit. But Nathan, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on that match?
Yeah, just another one ticked off in it. Another away win ticked off. Thought it was pretty comfortable in the end, but like you say, we were lacking that. I don't know, that clinical number 9. It's like that City debate last year, in it, where they were screaming out for a number 9, and
Yeah.
And everyone was like, no, they're still scoring goals. They don't need number 9, and then they get a number 9, and now
with Haaland, yeah.
Now they've just got the best, just a lad that's just bagging them in for fun. So I think obviously we need like a realistic version of Haaland. I think if we can go get a Haaland from Wish, I think we'll do as good. But yeah, we created loads of chances. Like I say, Vinny, I think, were frustrated at the end of the game when he said he should have been out of sight way before we scored our first.
Yeah.
But good to see some lads get some minutes that are needing it, like Peacock Farrell and another Alderkeel. Masterclass again from him. I think he's just getting better and better with each game. So
yeah, I've not mentioned Alderkeel yet, and someone in the comments, Chronicles of Chard, the vice president of the Mirage fan club, did say Alderkeel had a great game too. I do want to talk about him individually. We'll get on to him in a bit. But Neil, your thoughts on the game? Do you echo what me and Nathan are saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, not for 1 minute am I comparing us to Man City, but it is that same situation where we are scoring, but we haven't got that out and outer. And it's exactly that. And there was a thing about Kompany at the end. He said Jay had a shot or something and it missed. And someone said to Kompany, "Are you going in the Premier League with this?" And then Jay scored. So I think he sort of dropped hints that we do need a striker, I think. But again, Obafemi's not started, so could he be the striker? I don't know. We don't know, do we? But we're definitely going to be in the market for one because obviously we know Ashley's leaving. Jay's probably... I can't see Jay staying, if I'm being honest. Although I'm not complaints if he does, but I can't see it. So that'll be 2 strikers that we need. One will be a first choice and then another backup probably. So, yeah. But we'll probably pluck someone out of... whatever it's called, is it Juniper Pro League or whatever it is in Belgium? We'll probably pluck someone we've never heard of and start Googling stats and he'll turn out to be class, won't he?
An absolute worlder. Yeah, it'll turn out to be an absolute worlder. Benson, I want to talk about Benson because it's literally, we were joking at first. When he did it 2 weeks in a row, it's like, oh, he's done it 2 weeks in a row and he scored 2 goals similar earlier in the season. Yeah. But now it is literally copy and paste. He scores the same goal every week. And I will just quickly bring a picture in. Nathan, I'll be honest, I've stolen this from your Twitter page.
That's fine.
But look at that. Look at where he is there. Apologies if you're listening on the podcast. I'll just try and paint a picture. But it's the picture of Benson when he's hitting the shot. The ball has just left his foot. And he's got some space there, admittedly, but he's created that space because he had the 2 defenders on him on the outside, and then he's cut in. And as he's cut in, them 2 defenders have followed him, and then another defender's come in from the inside, and he literally has 3 players around him at the moment he hits it. It's like teams now know what he's going to do, and it's a typical. I know I've joked about it again with the fake taxi memes, but it's literally Arjen Robben all over again. You know what he's going to do. You know he's going to come inside. You know he's going to fake to go outside and then come inside, but you still can't stop him. The guy is sensational. Neil, your thoughts on that goal, and your thoughts on that goal, not just that goal. It's the fact that he does it every week. It's just
every week, yeah,
every damn week.
You just took that picture off, but I was going to point out there, if you look at it, even if he can't make that shot, look how many options he's got available to him.
True.
It's so good. He's got.
I've got my mouse on screen, like you all can see it, and you can't. But I think that's Goodmanson there on the edge.
I think that's Goodmanson calling for it. He's got Matson behind him. I don't know who that is offside. Is it Brownhill? But he looks offside. Is it Connor Roberts?
Connor, that'll be, because he made the run, didn't he?
So even if he can't make that shot, which let's be honest, he's going to win, but he's got options to do it. It's such a, it's his signature move, and they know he's going to do it, but they just can't stop him doing it. But I'm going to challenge him because no doubt he's watching to do it on the right, on the left hand side with his right foot this time.
That would be if you could do that against Cardiff just to complete the season, that would be absolutely
just to do the set, finish the season off, do it from the left on your right peg, do it that way.
It's not. It's something that it's worked on clearly, not just by Benson but by the team. But you sort of obviously it's just a freeze frame, but a bit further back, it's the overlap from Connor Roberts every time that allows. It pulls a defender out that gives him the time to then drag the ball back and cut inside and then pull in. But obviously Bristol they've identified that threat and they've left Roberts to just do the overlap and still put 3 on him. And his body shape, when he struck that ball, it's 1-2 frames before that, he's facing away from the goal.
Yeah.
He's wrapped his body around so well. And if you look there, there's probably not even a sight of goal for him because you got 2 in front of him, then you got...
It's only one place he can put that at that moment.
The kid's a joke, man.
He doesn't need He just hits it. He knows where he doesn't need to see it. He just knows where it is.
Yeah,
it's just so. I put like a clip up on. I know a few of us did, but just the goal at the same, like a few clips of the goals he scored hit at the same time, and they're just identical. Like you get the overlap, you get the drop of the shoulder, the little shuffle of the feet, and bang, left foot. It's always in that far corner, and like you said, it's that fate taxi meme. It's so fucking predictable, but you can't do anything about it. And if he doesn't shoot, he stops and either plays a good ball in or he recycles the ball, resets the move again, lets the overlap go again, and then tries it again. Like it's inevitable. Like it's inevitable. You try and stop him, you're gonna get shafted one way or another by him. He's a joke at the minute.
Yeah. Solent says Benson had one shot on target. That's all he needs, mate. That's all he needs.
Yeah. That's all he needs.
And the XG on that, I know some people don't like XG, but I don't care. The XG on that must be like 0.05.
Yeah.
Like it's to get a goal from there and to do it every I know you mentioned it. Like a few of us clipped it up. I thought everyone else has done it because I'm late to the party. I'll do it on TikTok. And someone commented on TikTok, obviously a Blackburn fan. Oh, pure luck. That he's done it 6 times this season, mate. How is that luck? How is that luck? The guy is sensational. And again, I'm just going to bring in something from Nathan's page because I do want to show the goal, but I ain't got the balls to do it on the actual goal because I'll probably get demonetised. So I'm going to show the fan footage. Look at the angle. It's class, isn't it? It's just
yeah.
I'm going to let it run through again. I'm not sure how well you can actually see it on the screen, but just the bend of that.
So good. That's one of the best angles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I can't wax lyrical enough about it.
That
I'll be honest
that angle highlights how difficult that was because you can actually see how little of the goal he has to look at when he struck the ball.
Perfect angle. To the Bristol City fan that uploaded that, I think I said to Neil before off air, like sometimes I film stuff and it doesn't go how I want it to go, or like I've filmed goals of the opposition fans before when they broke and I've just deleted it instantly. Like, I'm not putting that up. But some people just put it up and I'm like, fair play.
Yeah, fair play to that lad who I stole it off because he were like, he messaged me and was saying like how complimentary were the fans and like, and I apologise, I forgot to tag him and I was just in a mad rush to get it out there, so like I just thought people got to see that. And
I think he's
but he was dead complimentary about the team, the fans, like the way we play. Like he said it was just enjoyable to watch something like that on his own patch. So I thought it were quite nice to get that. Yeah, they were.
They might have been Norwich fans a few years ago. I remember when they came to Turf, they were quite decent. Might have even been last year, actually. Harry says 0.02 XG, that's meant to say, not dog, for his goal against Blackburn.
It probably is that for anybody else, but for Benson, it's probably higher. If you know it's Benson doing it, it's probably...
XG into how class you actually are. So if it's Barnsley taking that shot, it's minus XG. But if it's Benson taking that shot, then it should be guaranteed goal, 1 XG.
I wonder how many of them he's banged in training. Like,
Brown, who did the post match after the game, it was either Jay or someone just said that he does it every day at training. Like it's just inevitable. Like, it must be so demoralising as well. Sometimes you're just setting up a little like attacking play, and then he comes on and just bang top bins every time. Right, reset top bins every time. You just think, what's the point?
Yeah. Resurgence in the chat, morning mate. He says this season we have massively overperformed XG, and then he goes on to say the sole reason is probably Benson. To be fair, we normally overperform XG. That was the main thing on the dash, overperforming XG. But we did that because we had a decent finisher. Some people might disagree in Chris Wood, and we didn't get many chances, and the chances we did get, we'd have to put away. But with this one, it's like you say, it's the long range efforts that are going in. So it's Benson, and it's just obviously not Benson as well. Zarori earlier in the season were doing it. He did it against Sunderland. You know what? I actually used to get quite frustrated with Bennett and Zarori at stages in the season because they both scored similar goals, as we know, earlier in the season. But then they both continuously tried to repeat it. But for 3-4 months, none of them could get anywhere near. They just kept ballooning it over and wide. And then Benny sometimes would cut inside and then he'd actually get a ball in and do well. But every time he'd come inside, I'm like, don't hit it again. And he did, and it went all the way over. But I'm glad he's doing it again now. But Nathan, like I've seen a lot of Blackburn fans and opposition fans say, "Oh, it's so easy. If he scores that goal every time, just show him down the outside." But obviously, I can't remember which game it was in. But earlier in the season, he's done it in 2 games where he just comes inside and sets somebody up.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, like that him scoring the goal is just like one part of that play. Like there's a whole stage to that process. To get him in that position on the channel, there's got to be a ball worked out wide to one side of the pitch and then dragged over to the other side of the pitch, and then your wing backs get overlapped, which then pulls the defender weights and allows him to then jink inside. If you stop him from shooting, and he doesn't see it on, he's not going to take it. I don't see many shots from Benny that he just takes for the sake of it. Like unlike Zaruri, he seems to just take. As soon as he's cut inside, he has a shot, no matter what. That's it. It doesn't matter whether is a shot on or not. He just has the shot. Whereas I think Benny seems to be a bit smarter with that. He plays a nice cut through pass into the middle of the box, or he'll play a nice ball in. But if it's not on, they'll set it up again, take the ball back, replay it, get the overlap on again, and try and get it in. And I think it's very, very purposeful. It reminds me of the Mahrez role at City. I know I keep piping on at City, but obviously Kompany and they go at it's clear as day. Like you can see what he's trying to do. He's playing the Mahrez role that in big moments where you need a clinical finisher or someone to pull smart out of the hat, that's going to be Benson, and I think he's going to just continue that next season because every game's going to be a bit of a cup final for us next year, and I think he's going to be crucial in that little sequence of play.
Yeah, very interesting to see how Benson gets on next year, and obviously Zaroury and the rest of them as well. Neil, Stephen Berrett says, do you think this AI scout has helped identify the likes of Zaroury and Benson? Obviously, I'm going to you because you said we're probably just going to sign somebody in the summer, a striker.
Yeah.
We've never heard of him from the Juniper League or the Belgian League or whatever.
I don't know. I think that AI scout's for young players, isn't it? It's for identifying young players because it analyses, like, I don't think it's for current players. I think they use it for identifying youth prospects. So,
yeah, they do it to allow people to send in clips, don't they, the AI scout? So they can film themselves and it analyses, like, gait of the step and how fast they run, and it allows them to just separate, on a 20-minute and a 2-second video, you can sort of see who's got it and who hasn't in it. So, but I think on the back of that AI scout, I think they use a lot more data, a lot more like algorithms and all that. So I think they're very much, we're as a club, we're a lot more tech savvy now.
I'm pretty sure that comment you've just put from Harry there about the similar stat system, I'm sure I read somewhere at the start of the season that's what we implemented.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Kompany. I think it's something Alan Pearce and his team had implemented, that thing. I'm sure I read about that. So that's probably something to do with it more than AI Scout. But I think AI Scout, my understanding of it anyway, is that it's for young players. So it's probably not for that, but
Yeah, that AI Scout brought into widen the net because obviously we're competing with City, Everton. We're just fighting, and obviously they're scouting Burnley as well. So
it's about time as well because I cracked the joke before, but I'm pretty sure the scouts were only giving enough petrol money to get to Stoke and back.
yeah, pretty much.
The fact that we're signing players that nobody's ever heard of and they're turning out to be class just shows how well we are doing now with the recruitment. And Vinny's a big part of it, but so is Alan Pearce and the new system that we've got. They all deserve credit. Yeah. But that brings me on nicely to Al Dakhil. Some comments earlier in the chat. I'm not going to scroll up because again it's a busy chat, which I'm grateful for, very grateful for. Keep your comments coming in, but get your comments in now about Al Dakhil, and I'll put them back up on screen. Another great performance. I was very impressed with him at Blackburn. Impressed with him again on Saturday, but Blackburn was a little bit different because he's been thrown into a game where you can win the league. He's young. It's a derby. We'd already seen in the previous 3 games that I felt that the players were maybe getting a little bit nervous and a little bit complacent. But Al Dakhil just came in, slotted in perfectly, didn't he, Nathan? And he was fantastic against Blackburn. Fantastic again against Bristol City on Saturday. He's another one. He's come in and he's just been fantastic. And there's been nothing really you can say negative about him. Yeah,
he's been amazing. Like he's like a Bayer, like an understudy to Bayer, but that seems like a disrespect to Alderkiel, but it's not. I mean that in the most complimentary way. Like he plays just like him and can slot in and like on. And I didn't get a chance to jump on your last one with the Blackburn game, but Alderkiel in the Blackburn game, to have the gonads to step into a game like that after playing itty bitty parts throughout the season and put in one of the best performances you'll see him play this season in a game like that is phenomenal. And that shows that he's not only got the playing ability, he's got it up here as well. He's got the mentality to keep fighting and keep going, even if he's on the bench. But like yesterday, he didn't really have to break sweat. I saw a few times where they'd play a ball into channel and he just outpaced everyone and got in front of them and just swept the ball out and played it back up the channel without breaking a sweat. And it's interesting to see how he progresses on next season, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Neil, I'll get into next season in a minute. Because I'm just in a comment that I will bring up and chat about the defensive options next season. Neil, how do you think Al Dakhil's done since coming into the side?
He's done very well, hasn't he? He's I think there was a comment about him looking composed. He's strong. He looks composed. He looks calm on the ball. And he spoke very well when he got interviewed after the Blackburn game about how, he's in the Premier League and it's where he wants to be and all that sort of stuff. So he's obviously sort of got a clear idea of what he wants from the game, and he's learning from one of the best defenders to ever play in that league. So it can only get better for me. He looks very composed and he's grown into it, hasn't he? So
yeah, definitely.
Because he looked, I don't even know if he looked a bit shaky, but he just didn't really know what to make of him in his first couple of games. But then the more he's played, because he's sort of been forced into it with our injuries and stuff, he's just grown and grown and grown.
Yeah. His stature's really misleading as well. I think when he first signed for us and he played a couple of games, and I was like he's a bit. I don't think he's ready yet, and he needs to probably, get on Holland's pies a bit more. Bulk up a little bit. Like get used to playing in England. But for someone like quite slender and thin, he holds his own. Like I've not seen him get shrugged off a ball, and especially in the Blackburn game where that was just physical. They would just have to kick in lumps out of anybody that could get their hands on.
Yeah, he's clearly quite strong, isn't he?
He definitely held his own, and players bounce off him, which surprises me. So
150k, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend Holland's pies if you're looking to bulk up, lads, if anyone's watching. Holland's, if you are watching, I love your pies. Feel free to send me some for free. But I wouldn't definitely recommend them if you're trying to bulk up and get some. Burnley's best photographer is in the chat. Leo Caldecott. He says, "Will be interesting to see how who the two starting centre backs are for next season. Personally, Ekdal and Bayer for me. Interesting. I'd actually agree. I think. Bearing in mind, I would presume that THB is off, but even then, I'm not sure. I just think I've seen more from Ekdal. THB was class earlier in the season, but since he had that injury and he come back, he's looked a little bit shaky for me. Whereas Ekdal and Bayer especially, I think he's the best one we've got. Look far more composed. But yeah, even if we do get THB next season, Neil, because there's been some rumours of it, I'm not sure how legit they are. Potentially on another year long, because obviously we're at a higher level. So it would make sense for City to give him to us again if he's not going to get into their side just yet. But yeah, even if we had THB next season, I will be starting with Ekdal and Bayer. What about you?
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think we've got Bayer's first choice centre half for me. Because I made a tweet yesterday about Collins, and now I personally think we've had an upgrade. And then I got jumped on because I missed Al Dakhil out. But I was saying there that I think Bayer is first choice centre back for me anyway. And then Ekdal for me because of his composure on the ball and the runs he's able to make going forward, I think suits our system. And he'll suit what we need to do in the Premier League as well. THB, I can't see him staying if he's not going to play though, because I can't see City's going to loan him out to not play. No. So if he's going to be fourth choice for us, then he's probably going to go to another Championship club, I would have thought. So if he stays with us, I think there'll be some sort of guarantee that he's playing.
I think next season, I'm feeling confident THB will come back because he's making all the right noises and he's in that. I know loan signings, there's no guarantees, but he's been dancing around and celebrating, like he's been here for 20 years, So I think it probably will be THB and Bayer next year. But personally, I could see it being Ekdal and Bayer. But it's all about squad rotation next year. They're going to have some tough games and. We're going to have to probably be flexible with a couple of different formations to try and affect games and stay in games or stuff like that. So I think having Al Dakhil, who's still learning his trade, I think will be good to have to come in and out because he does seem like the character that would be happy to do that. Whereas I don't think THB would be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I didn't realise this, but research says he also removed all the Blackburn photos off his Instagram. He's a legend already then, so let's keep him. But yeah, that good signs. But again, it's and apparently he said he'll always be a claret on his Insta as well. So good signs as well. Who knows? We might even be buying him. If we buy him, then that's even better. But I think City will want a lot more than what we would be willing to give. As well, obviously, we're so good in the centre back area, aren't we? Duncan Forrester says. Ekdal, Bayer and Aldak all quality. McNally as well, we've not even mentioned him. He's had a good season as backup at Coventry. Don't really need to spend on THB, using money elsewhere. Yeah, fair point, to be honest with you. I've literally just said that we may be buying him, but I'd probably agree with that. If the options are buying him instead of loaning him, I'd probably rather spend the money elsewhere, maybe on an out-and-out striker or a centre mid, something like that. With the two lads, Corky getting a bit old, even though he was still fantastic again against Blackburn with Corky. As soon as he came on, the midfield battle changed. But yeah, would you rather spend money elsewhere, Neil, or bring THB in on a permanent if that were the choice?
Depends how much he is, and he won't be cheap, will he? But if Vinny can strike a deal with his old gaffer and get him for a decent price, then I wouldn't overpay for him because that money, because we don't need him. Sounds really arrogant, but it's not a priority area. So I'd rather we spent the money elsewhere, definitely.
Yeah. I think we might need to bring him in because at the minute that looks like to be the only link of. Don't we have to have a certain amount of homegrown players in the team next year?
Yeah.
And I think that might come into effect. And I think that's, instead of bedding someone in that's not played for us, it's an easy sort of sell that we can bring him in. And if he has an half-decent season, we're going to get the money back on him. You know, like Bayer's already looking like the safest investment since Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like
Bitcoin 10 years ago,
yeah, Bitcoin 10 years ago. But 15 mil euros, like you double. You know, it's a doubled already. He's a Premier League player. He's going to be a German international. You know, we've done that. We've doubled it already. So I think THB going forward would probably be. I personally would put him on top of the list and get that done out of the way, because they'll have some like random Azerbaijani centre midfielder, something lined up, you know, that'll just be the best thing since sliced bread. So I won't worry, you know.
Yep, fair enough.
Do we reckon that as soon as we've got confirmation this embargo is lifted, we're just going to see like 10 signings in one day? It's just going to be like,
probably,
yeah. They're probably signing people now behind background and just not signing the actual contract, and they'll do what Tottenham do, just release all the signings like staggered, but it's the same picture. Guys all wearing the same clothes because they could have done on the same day.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about Foster. I saw some comments again about Foster earlier in the chat. Please get them back in again, because again, it's a busy chat, so I don't want to scroll all the way up. Obviously went off with a head injury, so it's probably a little bit unfair on him, because I saw some comments on Twitter saying he's not good enough or whatever. I don't think he played bad. I thought he played okay, if I'm being honest with you. Probably would have liked to affect the game a little bit more in terms of shots and goals and stuff like that, but he was on for 35, 40 minutes. So probably being harsh. I'm saying he would want to rather than I would want him to, by the way. But I think recently he's been better. And as Mark Hickson says in the chat there, he's definitely got something about him. He's getting better. He did look a little lost in the early games, Neil, I thought, but recently is getting better, and it was just a shame to see him go off with a head injury. I'm not sure what the official concussion protocols are now. Does that mean he misses Cardiff or anything? I'm not sure. I think
isn't it X amount of hours? If it's been so many hours from it happening, he might be all right because it's over a week, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's over a week. But yeah, your thoughts on his performance then before he unfortunately went off?
Yeah, he played well. I mean, we were chatting after we'd done the pre-game show about him, weren't we? Or was it on the pre-game? I can't remember. But we were definitely chatting about him. That he's got everything apart from banging him in. So I do like him, but I think we need to judge him when he's had a pre-season, because he's obviously joined January and it took the whole team. We had this conversation before. It took the whole team a little while for it to click, and he's had bit parts to play. So give him a full pre-season and a run next year, and then if he's still not performing, sort of when it gets to him being with us for a year, then we maybe look at moving him on. But there are signs there. It's just not that finish. He's just not prolific. But his build-up play and his runs and everything else he's got is great.
Yeah. He's got something in the locker, and he's no mug on football pitch. It's just, it's always a shock. You come to English football, it's completely different. He's also playing for Burnley, so like even just driving through Paddy will probably be a shock to his system. You know what I mean? And it's an ever. I feel like this system's ever growing, ever changing, ever getting better. And I think he's probably just lacked that pace, and he's always been probably 2 or 3 months. Like you say with the Twine situation, they've always been like 3 months behind everybody else. Yeah. So he looks like he's playing like we were playing in like November. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like in terms of so I think I've been slightly negative to him, and there's some games where he just looked completely lost, like completely out of it. He looked well out of his depth. But
in his earlier games,
after a pre-season, 6 weeks is a long time when you're just training the same stuff 4 days a week, like no games, you just play training. I think he'll be all right. I just hope that the company can rectify if it doesn't go well next season, because next season's not a time to be carrying passengers and trying to let players bed in. You know what I mean? We've had that now. It's it's next season. It's like it's almost like it gets serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we've had it that easy this season.
No one would be criticising him if we hadn't paid what we paid for him, because we paid the price that you paid.
Completely agree.
We've paid the price for someone who scores.
Yeah,
and he's not doing. We've paid a goal scorer, and he isn't doing. That's where the criticism's coming from, because not for that price, then we should be scoring. But
I think a lot of that'll get paid back. There's a comment coming there, I think, from Ben, and it talks about like commerciality or whatever the word. Where like it makes sense because obviously now we're in the Premier League. The Premier League's massive in South Africa, so already we've got South Africa's number 9 playing for us in the Prem. So they're going to be buying shirts. They're going to be travelling to the games. They're going to be paying for the online streams. Like you're probably looking at more of a fee of about probably like 11 million quid. You know what I mean? By the time you've got your earnings back off him. And that probably feels a bit more right for his transfer value, you know what I mean? So it's one of them. Don't judge him too harshly just yet. Give him a pre-season. I think he'll be all right. A bit more space at Prem, a bit more, there's a bit more sexier football in there sometimes at Prem.
You get more time on the ball as well.
Yeah.
Well, we did do traditionally in the Prem, but a lot of teams do pressure quite high now. So maybe that's not factually correct anymore. But I agree. I know Sam, who comes on the show a lot, he's not so sure yet. There's a lot of stuff on Facebook and Twitter that's not so sure, but it's good to see the comments in this chat. I knew our community could be counted on. It's all very good. A lot of people saying, I've put them on screen for you, so if you are listening on the podcast, apologies, I'll just read a couple out. Solent Claret says the issue with Foster is the amount of money we pay for him, which is what Neil said. Exactly. We're comparing him to Benson and we expect more. Thomas Hargreaves says, give Foster time and he will come good. Ray Moorhead says, Foster's been dismissed too early by some fans. M. Mack says, link-up play was good against Rotherham. Think he's getting stick with being a centre-forward and not scoring, which again is just good saying what the lad said. Chronicles of Charles says, I think Foster needs a season on loan in the Championship to build his confidence. But Mark Higson says, Foster has definitely got something about him. Stick with him. So you probably did see them on screen, just reading them out then.
That's the thing. That's the problem, isn't it? It's that all the other signings have all hit the ground and they're all flying, and he's maybe not a little bit. So he's just getting. I think he's getting a lot more grief than he probably deserves in all fairness.
Like I say, with the transfer value of the other players as well, like Benson's peanuts, you know what I mean, and he's like one of the best, right? One of the best wing players, in Championship, and he's cost next to nothing, and. So the price tag does weigh heavy on some lads, especially he's gone from like nothing and unknown standards to then all of a sudden being a £15 million striker in England. Like it might weigh heavy on some lads. You just never know what mentality of them, do you?
I just think as fans, if fans are, as Neil and Solent says, thinking, oh well, bloody hell, he cost $7 million or whatever, well, just stop. It doesn't matter. It's not our money. No, it's not your money.
It's also not his fault. Like it's not his fault that we paid that price for him.
It's not FIFA. Players don't come in and just automatically fit the system. Like it takes time. Like FIFA or Footy Manager, you buy a player and you drop them in and it just works. You know what I mean? That's how it works. That's a game, but it'll take time. The lad will take time. I think he'll be all right. Seems like a good guy as well. Particularly like the video of that knuckle dragger at Ewood. Winding his up and he just peels off and he giving him face and
and Neil, I don't know if you saw the comment, but me and Neil were discussing it on the pre-game show. I'll screenshot it and stick it up after the stream. And I was saying because my followers, just to go back to what you said there, Nathan, we have this South African fan base now. Like my followers on Facebook went from 12,000 and they're now pushing 19,000 since we signed Foster. It's ridiculous, and it's all South Africans jumping on it, and I'm loving it. That's why I put loads of stuff about Foster, because I'm like, oh, they'll love this.
It's nothing to do with Foster. That's just your face being plastered everywhere, Joe. Can't move around Burnley without seeing your face somewhere.
I'm glad I'm out of Burnley. I'm sick of the sight.
But yeah, what were I going to say? I can't remember now. I've lost my train of thought. The Foster City. Oh yeah, the comment that he said to that Blackburn fan. Me and Neil was saying like, "Does any South Africans here? I've got lots of South African followers. Let me know what he said, please. Let me know what he said." If he said something in Afrikaans, which I'm not going to. I haven't got it in front of me, so I'm not going to try and read it.
Try it.
But apparently, it means your mothers will see you next Tuesday. That's what he said to the Blackburn fan.
Right, like it.
No,
but apparently, it's used in South Africa as a light-hearted joke.
I love the guy even more. Give him a 10-year contract and whatever shirt number he wants, get him.
Yeah, if he's
don't get him up wrong side of him. If that's light-hearted.
If you said that to a Blackburn fan, give him a 15-year contract. He is a Burnley legend. I don't care how many goals he scores.
Yeah, that would class that. Yeah, if that's light-hearted, Jesus Christ, don't bloody have a bump in. Don't have a little accident with him in Tesco car park, Christ.
Yeah, God, no. Kick me in the face. I've seen Twine in Tesco actually. Paddy in Tesco not that long ago. I say not that long ago. About a few days after he scored that goal against West Brom. So 6 months ago, to be honest. He was just walking around looking confused. He's probably like, "This ain't my truth. What am I doing here?"
I saw. He drove past me the other day, and he drove a Tesla, and I thought, yeah, that's exactly the car you drive. Of course, you drive a Tesla.
Seen loads of comments about Obafemi. Neil, I'll start with you because I know you said in certain shows that you want to see more of Obafemi. I will quickly scroll up because it's not that far away, these comments. Chris P has been in the chat saying he wants to see him play more. Where is it? There it is. Chris P says we have to start Obafemi against Cardiff. It's his dream match.
Yeah.
He always scores against them. Neil, I know you want to see more of Obafemi. I do want to see more of him, but I think he's been brought in to be used as more of a winger with his pace rather than a striker.
I think so. To use my FM Football Manager head, inside forward. I think is where he's going to play. But yeah, I think that's his position. But yeah, I just want to see him play because he hasn't really played much. I want to see what he's got to offer because I literally don't have an opinion either way about him because I haven't seen enough of him. Apart from he looks to have the knack to be in the right place at the right time to get those sitters. And when I say I haven't seen enough of him, I mean I can't get that vision of him on the bus. That's more than enough of him in it on the bus. But yeah, I just want to see him get a run against. And I don't know whether he'll start against Cardiff because it depends what Vinny's planning with Barnes because it's Barnes' farewell in it. So whether he's going to play
give Barnes the arm. Give Barnes the arm.
You know what I mean?
Barnes starts, gets the armband, gets a guard of honour himself.
Yeah.
I'd said that.
Someone's put there, Chris Peace put, does he then get subbed off so he gets the applause and then Obafemi comes on maybe? So I can't see Obafemi starting.
No, I said that to my mate though that he probably should play against Cardiff because he does bag all the time against Cardiff. He's he's got the Swansea connection. I know he's probably burnt that bridge with how he basically just down tools and just said I'm going Burnley no matter what, whether it's summer or January. Forget about it. But them things that they have an effect. Maybe he'd like to get a goal against them to sort of like redeem his little reputation at Swansea. You don't know how players work, do you? But no, I think he's going to be subbing. He's going to be a substitute. It's got to start Barnsley. Last day out turf.
I think so. Unless he starts them both, like you know what I mean. It's last day out turf.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, tell us.
Well, yeah. If Obafemi's playing as that sort of
plays the wide man.
Could start both in that way with Benson on the other side. Or whatever, or Zarori and bring Benny on later on. It's not a game that I'm that arsed about in terms of winning. It's just a game that's going to be a party atmosphere. Looking forward to it. Want to see him lift the trophy because obviously we were robbed of that last time. All right, I saw him lifted at the Town Hall, but it's just not the same. Obviously, we'll have all the cannons and all the shit and all the champions thing. It's going to be class. But I sit in the Jimmy Mac, so I'll have a terrible view of it. I'm wondering to see where. I reckon they'll do it in front of the James Hargreaves or whatever it's called these days. It's still called the James Hargreaves. It's not, is it?
Yeah, they will. They'll do it there because that's where cameras are. So they do it for telly.
Yeah, they'll do it there. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Still no merchandise. I thought we'd all have Champions T-shirts for it, but
they'll be out. Hopefully, they'll be out for Champions Day. You would think so.
Anyway. Yeah, it won't say Champions on it. It'll say Champions on it. I dropped.
Go on, sorry.
No, I said I took my top bite. I don't know if anyone's seen it. You get the misspelled. No, I couldn't. Looking at the office when I dropped it off, the office were full of them.
Were it?
There must have been about 600 just bags of open bags of return drill tops, and he said,
"That is." I mean, I know it's some that's done it, but at what point has someone who works in the club shop gone?
Yeah.
Yep. Stick
That
on
looks
rails.
right. It's not just that though. Like they've got the stock and then took the pictures of it and then got it all set up, put it all online, and then gone. Yep, still send it. Yeah, it's a bit of a cock up. The people that worked in the club shop were a little bit embarrassed when I were talking about it, and just asking like, they're gonna do this. Apparently, they're gonna unstitch them all because they don't make that. Umbro don't manufacture that top now. It's done. That was like we've basically got it looks like we've got like the dregs of the blank stock from Umbro. And we've just stuck a Burnley badge on it, and that's that. Apparently, they're gonna unstitch it all and re-embroider it. So. We'll see.
Fair enough. We'll see. Just going back to the Obafemi debate, Solent Clarence says Obafemi came on in the 66 minutes. He had no shots on target, no key passes, and only touched the ball 8 times. The slowest sprinter in the league getting caught by centre backs. I think that final sentence is an opinion rather than a stat because I do think he's quite fast.
The stat that I like about Obafemi is Borough. He was on for 5 minutes. He got booked, one shot on target, and then led the celebrations. That's all that matters.
that dancing on the coach was absolutely sensational.
Yeah,
absolutely sensational. So I'm not sure he's quicker than Teller, but I mean, I'd like to see him go for a sprint race. I really, really would.
Yeah, he falls in the Foster category, doesn't he? Really, because he's not had a pre-season. He had a bad run of not playing for Swansea when he came to us, so he didn't come to us fully match fit. He's not really had a run of starts or like consistent enough. Like 30 minutes here and there isn't enough to get you match sharp. It's such an odd debate because when we signed him or we linked with him this summer, I was like, this guy's a machine. Like this guy's a monster. He's going to do so much for us, and then it never happened. So I don't think we're actually seeing the Obafemi that we wanted in the summer.
He's
we're
coming
seeing
on
like
as well.
when games. Yeah, and he's also coming in games where like the game's either won or we're playing against a team that just have no interest in playing football. They're not giving you any space. They're not like even trying to defend. They're just trying to just boot on a winger that we put on the side of the pitch. Like, I'm trying to reserve judgment of Obafemi. I'd like it because he's just a class character, and old lads seem to get off him. And that Teller and Obafemi like friendship's like quite sweet in a way, innit? They're like best mates, aren't they? So we'll see.
I do think, I think he came into not overweight, but just too bulky. And like I said, not fit in the slightest because he down tools at Swansea. He weren't playing. They didn't want him there. He didn't want to be there. So give him a pre-season. Let him trim down quite a lot. Get off the creatine if that's what you're doing. Like when Adi Akibai had to back in day when he was too muscular. And just get some cardio done and just crack on with it. And I think next year we might see the best of him. But I don't know. Like Neil, you mentioned earlier, he's got a knack of being in the right time at the right place.
Yeah,
you can't teach that. But then I don't know. I'm not 100% sure he's Premier League quality just yet. But I'm not going to be one of them that writes him off. I'm just going to be like, let him play in the Premier League for the next season, and then we'll know where he's at the end of next year.
We genuinely haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah,
we haven't seen enough of him. Not when it matters anyway. Because like I was saying, he tends to come on when the game's done, and we've slowed down and took our foot off the gas a little bit. And I mean, even judging players sort of post Borough is a bit harsh because everyone's sort of downed it a little bit, haven't they? So
and especially after Rovers game now, we're not going to match the performance levels after that because we've peaked now. Like the season's done, we're on the decline now. That's just going to happen. Like game's done. I think then go over the summer. I think we'll see a lot of difference in a lot of players next season. If we, most of the bulk of squad get retained and we have a good pre-season, I think we'll see pretty stark contrast between a lot of players. Like I think Zaruri will bulk up a little bit more. I think he'll get a bit more of like a Leroy Sané sort of stature. Like I think he'll get a bit fitter, he'll get a bit bigger, a bit stronger. I think he could have a really good summer, for us and come back completely different. And like I say, same with Obafemi.
Yeah, agree. It's going to be interesting to see how they both do. Charlie Taylor's another one I want to talk about because a lot of people were talking about him earlier in the chat. Do we think he goes or do we think he stays? Neil, I'll start with you. I think he'll go. There's been a lot of people saying he's a very good defender and stuff, and I agree with it. And we should keep him, but he gets found out a lot in this new system. And some people, I think it was Solon arguing earlier in the chat, well, that's because he's trying to cover for Markson. But that's part of this new system. Roberts has got to do the same thing, and he's looking brilliant in this system. I just don't think this system suits Charlie Taylor. For me, perfectly honest, I think he would probably admit that as well. I think he's better in the more traditional flat back 4-4-2. He'd do well at Everton with Daesh. I think he really would. If they stayed up, if he wanted to stay in the Premier, if he went down, he might be more likely to go there. Who knows? But I just don't think this system suits Charlie Taylor. He's been a fantastic servant, and I love him to bits. But I would not be overly bothered if he left, if I'm being honest with you. But I think that's probably one of my more controversial opinions, if I'm being honest with you. I know a lot of fans still want him and still want to keep him. I would like him to be here. I just feel like he's been caught out a lot, especially at Blackburn. Like when Blackburn were pressing him, like he'd give me an heart attack every time. And you've got to be better than that in this system. You've got to be better than that in the Prem. So Charlie Taylor, Neil, do you think he's going to be in next year? And how do you feel about him leaving?
He's a great defender, but I'm a bit like you. I don't think the system suits him, but he deserves to be starting, and I don't think he starts in our system. So I think for him, it's a good thing for him to move and get starting somewhere. 100%, I can see him going and teaming up with Dyche again. Because he'll suit what Dyche wants him to do, Sorry, he's a good defender. He was giving me heart attacks, and he has got a mistake in him, but he's a good defender. But the system just doesn't suit him, and he did very well when he was stepping in at the start of the season as centre half and stuff like that. He did very well, but it's not his natural position. And I just think he needs to move for himself as well. I think because he does deserve to start, and he's not going to start for us.
Yeah, as Harry says there, love Taylor, but I think there's players better suited that we could sign. Can't keep playing out of position.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't fit the Martin role. It is that. It's like he's very good. I just don't think this new system suits him. Going to Everton, as we both said, would be perfect. I think Leeds might be a shout as well if they go down or stay up. I don't know if he's going to be a Premier League footballer next year or a Championship footballer. I know he left under a bit of a cloud at Leeds, but I think he still has a soft spot for them. And football fans are fickle. If he went back to Leeds, I don't think they'd be too bothered. Nathan, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, the same. I find, like, he's quite one-dimensional, this Charlie. Like, he's good at what he does. He's good at being Charlie Taylor. And him playing centre-half, inverted wing-back, the half-line, right wing-back. I don't think it suits his style of playing. Like the past few games, anytime he has played, he just gives me an heart attack every time he's got the ball. He just looks so flat-footed. He doesn't seem to be able to have the composure. He's got the technical ability, but I just don't think he's got the composure to just drop a ball back to centre half when there's two attackers closing him down. He seems to panic and just want to do the Daesh tactic, which is head down, touchline, channel. That's what he's good at. Charlie Taylor is phenomenal at tracking back, smashing someone, like doing a good shoulder to shoulder, smashing someone, winning ball back, touchline, channel ball. That's Charlie Taylor, and it was so successful for us. But in this new system, every player has to sort of know the position in front of them, to the side of them, and behind them, to be so they can all mishmash and jump in and out of positions if they need to. Like, he's covering for Maatsen, but that's his job. He's got to cover for Maatsen because Maatsen plays up top. Charlie Taylor will get covered by THB or Bayer. Like, that's his job. It'll all shift around. And I just don't think good player, really good for us. Had some good times with us, but it's just one of them. It's part of the new phase of Burnley. We're going to have players coming in and out, coming and going now. We're not going to have a run of players that stay 4 or 5 years. I don't think we're going to have a lot of chopping and changing. And I think Charlie will be one of the first of that.
Yeah, he's definitely a Premier League standard left back, as Harry says. He just doesn't suit this system.
We don't play with a left back.
Yeah,
he's an old style left back.
It's only fullbacks now that you've got to come inside and do centre back roles and go forward. It's all, and I don't think that suits Charlie. He's a very good defender, but he's not good with his foot on the ball. And yes, he has been played that position a lot because he's been played centre back quite a lot recently. But even at left back, the left back role at Burnley isn't a traditional left back role anymore.
No,
it's not the same as what Charlie's good at, and I think for that and that reason alone is why I wouldn't be too fussed if he left.
And I hope for his career he sort of does maybe make a move on and does have a bit of a like a Indian summer and changes his style and has this resurgence, because that role is dying out in the elite football, like the top levels, like that old school, shirt tucked in, socks perfectly nailed, black boots left back. It doesn't exist any, it's dying out at the top level, and I hope for his sake he can, because probably he's a bit stuck in his ways at Burnley. He's wearing the same claret and blue. He probably still thinks he's a bit in the dash role and stuff like that. So maybe a new club, fresh start, or he just goes back to Everton and just plays the old school left back if Dash keep Everton anyway. So
I'm going to say
that's
it's probably
that's a different podcast for another day,
isn't it? Is Dash, but Chris says Taylor will actually be leaving without scoring a goal for us. If we get a penalty against Cardiff, give it to Charlie Taylor. 100%, give it to Charlie Taylor.
Yeah. Definitely.
We have to get him to score a goal. If he is leaving, of course. If not, he'll score a goal at Prem next year against Man United, hopefully. Apologies for dropping a pen. But Mark Hodgman does says I'd keep him as backup. We've discussed it millions of times, Chris, and I know you are an avid watcher, so you've probably seen us discuss it. Are we all agreeing that we should sell Weghorst in the summer? Yes. I think that's the end of it. Yes. There's only Sam who comes on the show who likes a random controversial opinion that thinks we should protect. Well, he doesn't think we should keep him. In fairness, he just thinks he gets a lot of unnecessary stick and he's better than people think. But he wouldn't want him back.
He's a goal scorer who doesn't score goals.
He's
a passion merchant now. That's all he is. He's a passion merchant.
Did you see him? Did you see that ridiculous run he did on his own? It's just desperation. Love me. Like, no.
The United fans don't like him. Like, my MD of my company is a mad United fan up and down the country, and he's like, I don't get him. Like, he thinks the fans are endearing to him when he does all this fist pumping and all the team are over there, but no, he's with the fans. He's celebrating with the fans. The fans don't fucking like him. They think he's weird. They think he's like self-entitled. They think he's got a massive ego. And that's ridiculous to say. United fans that have had some of the biggest egos in world football to ever existed, they think he's got a big ego. Like, they've had Ronaldo, for God's sake. Like, I just don't get the man. He's just going round and he's just burning everything that he touches. Like, he's pissed off of Turkey, like some of the hardest ultras in fucking European football. He can't even go to Turkey anymore now on holiday. He can't go bloody Alicante for 2 weeks all inclusive. Now he's buggered that. You know, he's buggered everything in Burnley just because he was like, I'm not gonna fight for you. I'm gonna do one.
It seems to me that when he moves on, it's like he goes all in. Like, me, I'm all you now. I think he forgets that, like, you've still got to come back here, mate. Like, if you've burned all your bridges and no one wants you, you've still got to come back here.
He's ending up back in German football obscurity next season. That's where he's going. He won't have an English club after him. I'd be surprised if United keep him on. It'll because his agent, his fucking super agent, has wangled him an extension that has to be triggered if he ties his fucking bootlaces a certain way. You know what I mean?
I kept getting told, it must be good because he's starting games at United, but my response was they literally have nobody else. And look at him now. As soon as Rashford and Martial are fit,
exactly. As soon as Martial's back, he's starting.
Yeah. The only reason he got United was Ten Hag was from Holland. He's Dutch, and Weghorst is Dutch. Like, he was Dutch, and he was a forward player. Like,
there was 2 goals in the World Cup that Ten Hag probably went, that was good. So I'll bring him in. He's got training pictures like.
United missed every other target that they wanted as well. They wanted Gakpo, they wanted Haaland, they wanted every other striker that he could get until they ended up right at the fucking bottom and found Wout Weghorst. Good riddance. Never graced Turf Moor again, even as an opposition player.
So let's never mention his name because he'll be loving the fact we're talking about him. So let's just
he will.
Nori exists, and there we go.
Chris Pete says Maguire would do a better job up front than Weghorst. Court Lehman says Weghorst at Glasgow Rangers. Mark Higson says SPL level at best. Ray Moorhead says Weghorst is so self-censored, wouldn't want him anywhere near us. Mark Higson says how does he get picked for Holland? Chris P says he'll go back to Germany, probs. Somewhere like that.
Sensible. We've got sensible people.
Just don't think he's a likeable person, to be honest, says Chris. But Solent's the only one that says something positive about him. He says I would rather have Weghorst rather than Foster in our current style of playing. I think that's more of a dig at Foster than it is positive of Weghorst from Solent.
Weghorst he's not got a first touch. He can't head the ball yet. He's the tallest fucking football player to ever walk the planet. He's got no positional play, and when he does drop deep, he drops deep and lets the whole player bypass him. And then when he does go on the attack, he just runs beyond the centre halves. And then every time he doesn't get the ball, I see him at United now. He's there throwing his arms in there. Like, you think Marcus Rashford thinks he trusts you with the ball over his own ability to find the back of the net? He's not going to pass with you Dutch prat.
Yeah. Harry says, what fee would you accept for him, though? What do we pay for him? I just recoup our losses.
I'd accept 50p, just get him out. Just get him out.
I'd like us to just make the money back. Just make the money back.
Yeah.
Save his wages, mate.
This is one we got wrong.
I have a funny feeling he's going to be like our Dele Alli, that we're just constantly loaning him out every season for the next 3 years of his contract. We're just loaning him out to fucking Timbuktu FC, over to fucking, San Francisco fucking Jaguars or whatever. You know what I mean? We're just going to be loaning him everywhere just to keep him away because no one will want to buy him.
Wrexham.
Gavin Wrexham will love you. They love self-entitled egos at Wrexham. He would fit right in over there.
I was just thinking, Deadpool. Sign him up, Deadpool.
Yeah.
It's too big good.
And he'd still get found out of League Two as well.
I don't know.
Probably. We're coming up to the hour mark then, so we will start wrapping it up. If there's anything you want to say, lads, think of it now and we'll chat about it in a second. But of course, before we do go, even though we've not chatted too much about the actual match again, we've just talked about all the other man of the match.
Someone brings up about Weghorst. Gets me angry.
Man of the matches from the game. Bristol City 1, Burnley 2. I just can't see past Benson at the minute. I know a lot of people, Roberts played well, Al-Dakhil played well, a lot of the people played well. But for me, get your comments in as well, by the way. Get your comments in as well. Let me know who your man of the match was in the comments and I will put them up on screen. But for me, my man of the match, Manuel Benson. Nobody can stop him. You know what he's going to do, but you still can't stop him. That's how good he is. And I'll just quickly put the picture back on screen again. He had 3 people on him. Look at it. There's 3 people around him. There's not much space there, but he still found the space and it still goes into the top bin. My man of the match is Manuel Benson because he does it every week.
Yeah, same with me. It's hard to argue with that. I'll give a shout out, I think, to Connor Roberts. I thought he had a particularly good game yesterday. I thought it seems to finally click, almost definitely click that position for him now. He's bombing past, he's tucking in, he's filling in, he's covering. He's having pot shots from 30 yards that are getting closer and closer. I felt that was just a bit of a word to him. But Benson, every day of the week, it's just inevitable.
Inevitable, brilliant.
Yeah,
Neil.
Mewich.
Here we go.
Wasn't even playing, but it's Benny, mate. It can't be anybody else, can it? It's got to be Benson. The left foot like that, it's got to be. Connor Roberts, mate. I'm disappointed he's not grown his tash back. I
know. He bottled that, hasn't he?
Bottled it, yeah.
Bottled it.
Yeah.
I did on the back of that goal. I like his reaction after Benny scored that goal. I don't know I think I put it on. I don't know where I put it on, but he just turns around and just stop it. What's the point? At first he was pissed off.
He goes, because he's annoyed he's not got the ball. And then he cuts his hand, and I think he's doing that as he say, what am I on about?
Yeah.
Never passed to me.
Yeah. I'm excited that Connor Roberts is going to take the mantle of the shithouse prince as well. He's he's the perfect.
We've got some decent shithouses now. Brown
it's not
some shithouses, obviously. Then you've got Teller who just loves it, and Connor as well.
Yeah, it suits the current. He is.
Teller's a naughty school kid. He gets joined in. He doesn't start it, but he sees trouble and he joins it.
Yeah.
It's fitting with the coronation weekend, isn't it? That Barnes is just going to pass the mantle to Connor Roberts and be like, "There you go, my son."
The fact that we now have 3 shithouses, that's because there's been a shithouse in the squad for so long. They've all seen him doing it, and then they're all like, "Yes, I want to be like him." So that's his legacy. Johnny the Great says, "Rate, I'm late."
Just a bit.
We're just a bit dangerous. About to wrap up. I've not asked Dan today. I do like to swap it around every now and then and get different people on in different weeks. But no doubt Dan will be back very soon. I am going to start wrapping it up now, but I've seen a couple of comments from a few people. We'll just quickly do these. Word on Milner coming in for free. Neil, want Milner? Bothered about Milner if he comes in?
I'm not asked either way, to be honest with you. His experience will be good, but I don't think he's the he doesn't fit our transfer model, I don't think, unless it's free on a very low wage. It will be free, but on a very low wage. It doesn't fit our transfer model for me. I don't think he's out in it.
Yeah. Considering he's nearly 50 and every player's under fucking 12 in our team. And the minute I think he's just it might be a signing that Kompany brings in as a bridge between coaching the manager's office and the dressing room.
Coach, maybe.
He might be looking to maybe replace the older heads like Jay, Barnesy. That's the only thing I think of. But in terms of footballing decision. I don't see the point, to be honest. Really, high wages, I don't know. But I'm not a football manager or a club owner, so what do I know? But no, I don't get excited about it either way.
Yep, fair enough. Harry says thoughts on Kent from Rangers. Nathan, I'll start with you on this one. I was speaking to a Rangers fan yesterday, and he said he thinks he's definitely leaving in the summer. And Burnley's probably his best option at the minute. I think he's a good player. And there's a bit of controversy surrounding him, though, isn't there? It can be a bit of a bell, apparently. But, I mean, Connor Roberts is our bell now. You know what I mean? And people were saying that when he came in. So I think he's a good player. Is Kent? And if Taylor is leaving, what side does Kent play on? Does he play on the right or the left?
He's a right, isn't he? Right-sided.
Is he?
Kent.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, bad example then. But if he is right-sided, then obviously we've already got pretty good cover there. So we'll see. But
if we sign him, where does that? If we sign him, where does that leave Vitinho?
Yeah.
Well, I think, like I said, next season's all about depth now. I think we've built that core base, haven't we, now? And I think he'll want, Kompany, because again, I always compare it to City, because that's all Kompany knows is City. That's what he's basically done all his managing with, well, not managing, but learning through. And they have, I know they've got 20 players for each position, but they always like to have like for like that can come in and out and come in and out. So I think the challenge for next season is just doubling up on positions now and having that, and let people not only compete on the pitch, but let people be competing for spaces. That's something we've not had in the last 10 years is players fighting for the shirt. They've just, Tarky's woke up one day, slippers on, and he knows he's starting every day. It doesn't matter if he has a bad week at training, he's going to be starting, where I think they want to get that competition. So if Kent comes in and just kicks Vitinho up the backside and gets him playing a bit better, or he doesn't and Kent comes in and plays better, it's a win-win, in it. So
according to research, he is left-sided, more of a winger than a fullback. But yeah, I don't really watch too much SPL, to be fair.
No, I don't.
So I'd always seem to remember him playing in a traditional sort of 4-4-2 role. Again, I'm obviously wrong, because again, I don't watch too much SPL stuff. Lookman as well. I don't know. I've not seen that one. A lot of people in the comments saying Lookman is quite a goer, but I've not seen that. I've not even seen that one. I used to love it. We'd get a drip of information, and that's what helped me build the TurfCast page, by putting out information. Oh, this source has said this, blah blah blah. But I can't be arsed with it anymore, because it's just 4 or 5 different people a day, and you'll get someone who's clearly just made it up, and then you get all the Burnley pages diving on it, and I just can't be arsed with it. There's too many names these days, so I have missed the Lookman one. Apologies. Research, I've told you a million times, you need to be my transfer guru on social, so you can start doing it. But yeah, anything else you want to add, lads, before we wrap it up?
Just want to put an end to the Kompany leaving.
I was just going to say that.
They also got a little bit twitchy when I saw Fabrizio, and then there's that Belgian journal that's that Sasha.
I never saw Fabrizio say it, though. I've heard people say
he said it in a podcast. Apparently. He said it in a podcast.
Yeah, he said it in a podcast. But he said it without saying it, so he didn't say it, but he said, you know what I mean? It's I think he was just fueling the fire and doing what a content creator should do, which is just get something. But Sash,
there's nothing wrong with making contact.
No.
I made contact with Nike at the weekend to try and get some Travis Scotts. Don't mean I got them.
No.
You know
Yeah.
I think a lot of it as well is the thing that I looked at most is it wasn't Kompany, it was his agency. That's why it was just a case of his agency saying, this one's available, there's been some rumours, we'll send an email, and then obviously Levy's gone, bloody hell, email, I'll email about Kompany and chat, and then there you go. I just don't think Kompany ever did it. I mean, I'm guessing, obviously I'm guessing, I'm not saying I've got any inside sources or anything, but that's what it looked like. It just said agents had been in touch. So for me, I was never really, and it just don't make sense. Why would you go there now? People always go, "Oh, it's the bigger club than Burnley." It is, but it's not always about that.
I sort of disagree with that, because a lot of people will say, "Oh, he's stupid to go. He'd be stupid to go," and it's like, well, why would he be? Because he's got the confidence in his own ability to turn it around. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be it wouldn't be the game of football. Like that club, Tottenham. I don't want him to go. I'm not pitching for him to go, but I'm just saying, if he will go. If he did go there, he will turn that around. He's got the minerals to do it. I don't care what, they were a basket case because they were getting basket case characters in. You don't go from like Mourinho down to that Wolves fella that got potted at Wolves to Conte to then Ryan Mason. That's a basket case. That you bring someone in that's smart, sensible, calculated, that knows what he's doing, he would turn that around. But I think he wants to do this project with us. You get that, so you can feel it in him. I've heard like murmurings that he stood in front of the dressing room after we won at Blackburn and basically did the whole like Wolf of Wall Street bollocks and said, I'm not fucking leaving. You know, he's basically said that we're going to get next year out of him. But
there's literally no point, mate. Like
like
you said, it's a project. Why would he get us, his team, his project into the Premier League and then manage somebody else in the Premier League?
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
You made that point, Nathan, and I've always made that point. People will always back themselves to especially ambitious people will always back themselves to do that sort of thing and go to that job and turn it around. And he obviously would do if that was the case and he wanted it. But there's just certain scenarios where probably, not that he doesn't back himself, he probably just thinks it's probably a little bit early for me. And I think he's intelligent, and I think he would look at that and think it's a bit early for me, if I'm being honest.
It was just, I think I got riled up as well with people like thinking he's going to die on the cross. Like, it's football at the end of the day. Like, this is the model we're going to be taking now. Like, we're going to get a manager. He's going to stay for probably 1 or 2 years. He's going to move on. This looks to be like the constant model. It's going to be the Brighton model. It's going to be the Newcastle model. It's going to be all these models. I think, these managers aren't going to stay. And I think a lot of people got caught up saying, no, he's going to stay forever. And I'm like, there is no loyalty in football. Like, Vinny doesn't, he's not got a Burnley tattoo on his calf like half the lads do at Burnley. Like, you know what I mean? If he wants to go to a bigger project, he'll take it. But I'm glad he isn't doing. I'm glad he's sticking with us. But I wouldn't have been as annoyed if he'd have gone, I'm going to turn Tottenham around this summer. I'm going to get a full season, pre-season, bring my lads in, put my thing, and he'd have turned that ship around like comfortably. But I'm glad he's choosing us.
Yeah,
it's going one day. Like, for me, it's a good thing. It's a good thing if he goes one day, because if he stays with us forever, it means he's not been good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To push on, to progress on.
I'm trying to say, but I can't get it across. It's like, it means he's not been good enough to progress. So I want him to. And
there's a reason Daesh probably stayed 10 years.
Yeah. Well, that's another podcast, isn't it? But we were saying,
you know what I mean?
Everton's not working for him, I don't think. But anyway. I ultimately think he's going to manage Man City, and to get there, he's going to have to take a few steps. He's not going to go from us to City. He's going to have to go from us to somebody to City.
Yeah.
And I think that's happening in the next.
Say that. I mean, I know it's not a good example because Lampard failed, but Lampard went from Derby to Chelsea, and I think we are in a far better position than what Derby even were then. Bigger club, well, not as big a fan base, but probably.
I think we also can't underestimate how poor Lampard is as a manager as well.
Yeah,
he's god awful.
Yeah,
absolutely shocking.
I do want to quickly break off as well, because obviously it's been on screen for a while. I've not had a chance to mention it, but Chronicles of Child, thank you so much for that donation. That will go towards a new coffee machine, because my coffee machine's broke over the weekend, and I am gutted because it cost £600. That's not a flex, by the way. I did not pay for it. It was a gift. And I've not been able to have a coffee this morning. As soon as I finish this and I chat to the lads after it, I'm going to go out and probably get a Costa. So that's going to go towards a Costa, actually, not a new coffee machine. But thank you so much, Chard. Honestly, it means a lot. So we will discuss it as well, because I know a few people have put it in the chat as well. Great channel, he says. Thank you, mate. Appreciate the donation again. Thoughts on Belgian foot team we apparently taken over? Well, as a few people said in the chat after you, obviously the bid was rejected. I think, did you tweet it, or I saw someone tweet it?
I think I retweeted someone about it. It's a cry. Most clubs are doing it now. It's desperate moves because of Brexit.
Did we do it a few American clubs in the Coastal days?
Yeah, I think so. I think we invested. I don't know if we bought them. I think we just like had it. But now the rules say you have to be like an owner of that club to. It's a way to bypass like work permits, basically.
Yeah, it's a work permit.
We're crying. Yeah, like look at the market we're going in. All we're doing is signing young foreign lads. Like, that's what we're going to be buying. So we're desperate to get a club to, to get.
The only concern I've got is how much it's going to end up costing in the end, because is that coming out of Pace's budget, or is it going to come out of what Vinny's ultimately got and there's someone to spend on a player? Because if he buys it for 20 million and we miss out on a striker for 20 million, I'll be a bit annoyed about it. But
it sort of swings and roundabouts. You sort of have to have the club to then buy the player for 20 million. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, not have to, but like it makes things a lot easier, getting work permits, getting getting them registered as a player over here, getting them living and stuff like that. If you've got a player that's having like 12 weeks of like back and forth in and out of the country because he can't actually live here before he can work, it's going to be so. I think like these lads that are running the club, the millionaires, they make they make big decisions based on data and stats, like at the drop of a hat.
Well.
Exactly. So I think it would be a no-brainer. I think they are just itching for a club. Obviously, it matches up with Belgium and the success we've had with the Belgian lads and stuff like that. So
more information on your screen now. Apologies if you can't see it too well. I'll quickly read it out. Burnley and Bournemouth have both recently made an offer to purchase Belgian club KV Kortrijk. Although both bids have been rejected, the asking fee for the club has risen from 12 million to 17.5 million in recent months. Number one, why has it risen? Have they started doing well, or are they just being greedy? But it looks like we're trying to do something similar, because I know the Pozzo family at Watford, again, not the best example because they're in the mire. They do something similar, don't they? Is it Udinese that they own as well as Watford? So that they'll loan players out to Udinese, they'll buy players between the two clubs. Pretty certain it's money laundering. Probably shouldn't have said that live on stream. I'll probably get done for slander now.
Yes, you've done with liable now.
yeah, but it's interesting to say the least. But I think it's a right way to go. I am liking the fact that we could have another club, a feeder club, and I'd definitely go out there for a game, do a video. That'd be class.
Yeah, they're a good little account as well. They've turned into like a secondary Burnley fan page now at the minute with all the good stuff we've got now. So.
There's a City one. Absolutely love us. Can't remember.
Yeah.
They're like
what annoys me though? These Belgian ones and these City ones, because they're bigger and better and stuff. Like, well, not the Belgian club, but that the Belgian page, just get more likes. And I'm tweeting my blood, sweat, and tears into these Burnley tweets, and they get more likes. It's infuriating. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I like the way the club's going. Chris P says, start a GoFundMe for Joe's coffee machine. Yeah, definitely, 100%. It's a Sage. If you wanna send them on to my address, a Sage coffee machine. But no, honestly, it's not broke. I don't know what it is. The beans have got stuck in the grinder, and I've cleaned it out so much. And I don't know how. You have to unscrew it, and you can't. You need like a proper. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to get like a bloody engineer out or something. It's broken before, but when I cleaned it out, it would fix. Whereas this time it's not doing it. But pray for Joe. I'm gonna have to go to the local petrol station.
# coffee chat.
Absolute first world problems in it.
It is, in it.
First world problems.
But yeah, Nathan needs to shoot. I have things to do as well. I don't just do a podcast, everybody. I actually have a life as well. Maybe not a good one. But thank you, everybody, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Nathan, thank you, mate. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you? If they don't already, they should know. Now. Get in a decent now.
Yeah, I'm getting there now. It's ticking along nicely. I'm just spouting crap out. But yeah, we're over at Burnley Monday L on Twitter. Joe tweets a few stuff. I tweet a lot of stuff. I'm on YouTube as well. So yeah, come check us out. Yeah, it's
any more
going along nicely.
Videos coming up soon?
I'm going to get a few out. I'll probably do a bit more of a season roundup towards the end of the season and get some a bit bigger planned. But like I say, it's with all the games coming thick and fast, it's been hard to try and get content out there. So hopefully next season, when it spreads out a bit more, we can be a bit more consistent. And
it's all work, isn't it? This week I've been literally, because I had to do one for Blackburn. Like normally I ignore the midweek games, but I couldn't ignore that one. So this week has been a perfect example of how busy it can be. Yeah. But yeah, we'll probably be doing a season review on TurfCast as well, so we'll get you on for that. Nice one. Chris P says, will Vizzy be appearing after the Cardiff game? Hopefully, mate. I'll be honest, I'm not asking for a couple of weeks because obviously he's got his new design thing now and he's busy as it is anyway. But I'll definitely be getting him on.
Yeah. Big time now. He's busy, isn't he? Big time.
I'll be a millionaire soon, will Viz, with them designs, and I'll hopefully he's on soon. But Neil as well, thank you to you for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Always, mate.
Neil's everyone's favourite panellist. You can find him on @NeilLayfield. He doesn't have his own page because
I know
he's not a sado like us.
he's actually got a life.
Nathan tweeted earlier, he's like, "Oh, I'm on with TurfCast and Burnley Monday and Neil."
And Neil.
I'm just like,
we just start a page, Layfield Claret, something like that.
Yeah.
Murich Monday.
Murich fan club, yeah.
Perfect. John Mead missed it. you know what happens, John? It doesn't matter. I'm ending the show now, so you can just sit there, you can wait, and then you can watch it back again when I press end broadcast. And everybody as well, if you've just joined late, don't worry, you can watch it back. If you'd rather listen to it on your way tomorrow or taking the dog out later on May Day on your bank holiday, the rain has eased off a bit at the minute, so you might be able to get the dog out for a walk. I don't think I'm going to leave the house, if I'm being honest with you. Might stick something on YouTube, apart from getting me Costa. But there's ways and means of listening to it after, of course, this show has ended. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you again for everybody commenting. I think the comments are flying in recent videos. I'm getting so many comments these days. It's an absolute pleasure. So I do appreciate you all commenting. So thank you, everybody who did that. And we will see you next time. But first of all, come on the Luton. And secondly, just to remind you all, we won the league at Ewood Park.